our study is about the Song of Moses. When you think about this infringement that seems to be creeping up on our individual rights, we can see how this is going to potentially bring us closer and closer to the powers that be, to have a one world government that can control your ability to buy and sell unless you comply. Fortunately, even though the book of Revelation is full of things that are scary and discouraging, because that's what's going to happen, is scary and discouraging, but there is a positive side, and that is that God is going to get us through. He will be with us, and He will deliver us from these things. So our study today is about the Song of Moses. Revelation 15, Part 2, the Song of Moses, is our subject for today. This is based on Revelation 15, verses 2 and 3. And it reads, "And I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire." We studied the sea of glass in a previous study, and you know that that's the platform, if you will, in front of the throne of heaven. And whether it's really water or whether it's a figure of speech, the facts are it's a huge, reflective, clear space. And it says, "And then they had gotten the victory over the beast and over the image and over his mark and over the number of his name." So the people that are standing on the sea of glass are those who have been through the time of trouble. They've been through the little time of trouble when there's the battle of the mark of the beast and the image of the beast and his mark and the number of his name. All of that's the little time of trouble. And these people are standing on the sea of glass in heaven. They have harps of God. So they're all singing and they're playing harps. They're singing the song of Moses, the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb, saying, "Great and marvelous are thy works, O Lord God Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints." Remember those words. These are in the Bible. These are the words for the song of Moses. "Great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty." Okay, let's move on. So, the interesting thing here is the 144,000 sing the Song of Moses. And we learned in our study of the Sea of Glass that they stand in a perfect square, 144,000, on the Sea of Glass. And they sing the Song of Moses, and they sing the Song of the Lamb. So what we're going to try to figure out in this study is, what are those songs? Why is it the Song of Moses and not the Song of Elijah or the Song of Noah? What's significant about it being called the Song of Moses? And what is the Song of the Lamb? Are they the same song? Are there two different songs? Do they have different purposes? Is one the verse and one the chorus? We're going to see what we can find out from the Bible and the spirit of prophecy to answer those questions. But the Bible clearly says part of the words are, "Great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints." So let's start with, what is the Song of Moses? And of course, we don't know for sure. The Bible does describe the Song of Moses and the context in which it was done, and we'll learn about that in a moment. But I'd like to start with letting you hear one music writer's interpretation of what the Song of Moses back when Moses was teaching it to the Israelites may have sounded like.
I will sing to the God who sets me free.
I will sing to the God who sets me free.
Pharaoh's army and his chariots God cast into the sea.
Pharaoh's army and his chariots God cast into the sea.
O God, who redeems, who delivers us from slavery, you set us on the mountain of your holy place. Your throne and your temple shall endure for all time. Your reign shall never end. I will sing to the God who sets me free.
I will sing to the God who sets me free.
Pharaoh's army and his chariots God cast it into the sea.
Pharaoh's army and his chariots God cast into the sea.
So that gives you an idea of what the Song of Moses may have sounded like when Moses taught it to the Israelites. Now let's read from the Bible the context of this, and I've abbreviated this because the whole chapter 15 of Exodus tells the story. But God instructed Moses to write this song and to teach it to the Israelites. So we pick up the story at Exodus 15, verses 1 to 3. Then Moses and the children of Israel, then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord, and spake, saying, I will sing unto the Lord, for he hath triumphed greatly. Keep in mind, this song was taught to them after the Israelites had been taken away from Egypt. And that great deliverance and the parting of the sea and the wiping out of Pharaoh and his armies in the sea as the water came in. So that's the triumph was being delivered. Continuing, the Lord is my strength and my song, and he is becoming my salvation. He is become my salvation. He is my God, and I will prepare him an habitation. My father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Now I'm skipping ahead to verse 6 and 7. 4 and 5 went into detail about Pharaoh and all of that. Then they continue, Thy right hand, O Lord, is become glorious in power. Thy right hand, O Lord, hath dashed in pieces the enemy, which of course was the Egyptians. And in the greatness of thine excellency, thou hast overthrown them that rose up against thee. Thou sendest them with wrath, which consumed them as stubble. Then we jump ahead 2 more verses to 9 through 12. The enemy said, I will pursue. Of course, that's Pharaoh going after. He let them go, and then he changed his mind and he started chasing them. And they came up against the sea, and then God allowed them to be victorious and swallowed up their enemies. So it says, the enemy said, I will pursue and I will overtake, and I will divide the spoil. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. I will draw my sword, my hand will destroy them. Thou didst blow with thy wind, the sea covered them. So now they're talking to God. They're explaining in the song that the enemy said, we're going to get you. But then God, thou, hast blown with the wind that opened the sea, and the sea covered them. They sank as lead in the mighty waters. Who is like thee, O Lord, among the gods? Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders? Thou stretchest out thy right hand, and the earth swallowed them. Obviously talking about the Egyptians. The people shall hear and be afraid. Sorrow shall take hold on the inhabitants. Fear and dread shall fall upon them. By the greatness of thine arm thou shalt be as still as stone, till thy people pass over. Remember, this was the Passover, and then they left. Those who painted the doorposts, the angel passed them by when the firstborn were being killed. O Lord, till the people pass over which thou hast purchased. Thou shalt bring them in and plant them in the mountain of thine inheritance, in the place, O Lord, which thou hast made of thee to dwell in the sanctuary, O Lord, which thy hands have established. The Lord shall reign forever and ever. Prophets and Kings, page 289, after quoting this whole Exodus 15, Ellen White says the following: this song and the great deliverance which it commemorates made an impression never to be effaced from the memory of the Hebrew people. From age to age it was echoed by the prophets and the singers of Israel, testifying that Jehovah is the strength and deliverance of those who trust in him. So from this we learn that Israel's Song of Moses was sung down through time as a reminder of God's deliverance. It wasn't just a one-time thing at the Exodus. It was meant to be sung over and over into the future as a reminder. One thing that I find interesting, and we're going to study this later in detail, is that the only plagues that I'm aware of where God poured out plagues on unrepentant people was in Moses' day and in the end times. We have the 10 plagues of Egypt, and we have the 7 last plagues just before Jesus comes. This is the 7 last plagues you'll recall is during Jacob's time of trouble. So we will go into detail, but I'm looking forward to finding the comparisons. Obviously, they have different number of plagues, but we'll study that in detail a little later. Prophets and Kings continues. The song, it's talking about the Song of Moses back in Moses' day, does not belong to the Jewish people alone. It points forward to the destruction of all the foes of righteousness and the final victory of the Israel of God. The prophet of Patmos, which is John in the Revelation, beholds the white-robed multitude that have gotten victory, standing on the sea of glass mingled with fire, having the harps of God, and they sing the song of Moses, the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb, quoting Revelation 15. So, from this we learned that the Song of Moses, the original song, points forward as well as a dual application, you might say, to the final deliverance during Jacob's time of trouble, just before Jesus comes. So the question is there a difference between the Israelites' Song of Moses and the end time of trouble, Jacob's time of trouble, Song of Moses and the Lamb that the 144,000 are going to sing on the Sea of Glass when this is all over? Are they the same song, or is there a difference? We're going to try to figure that out. Great Controversy, page 649. They sing a new song before the throne, a song that no man can learn save the 144,000. It is the song of Moses and the Lamb, a song of deliverance. None but the 144,000 can learn that song, for it is the song of their own personal experience, an experience such as no other company have ever had. So here's the question. We're talking about the 144,000. Remember, these are the ones who, at the close of probation, were still alive, saved, and they lived through the Jacob's time of trouble and the threat of the death decree, and experienced the deliverance of God, and witnessed, without seeing death, the second coming of Christ. So the 144,000, it says, none but the 144,000 can learn that song. That song of Moses and the Lamb, the song of deliverance. And the reason is because it's about their own personal experience, such as no other company's ever had. The reason no other company has ever had that experience is because no one has gone through Jacob's time of trouble except them. So none but the 144,000 can learn the song. So what's the significance of the song of the Lamb that makes singing the song of Moses different for the 144,000? Because you will notice Moses had the song of Moses in Exodus 15. But in Revelation, there's the song of the Lamb and the song of Moses. There's the song of Moses and of the Lamb. So what makes the song of Moses different in the 144,000? Is the song of Moses the same as the song of the Lamb? Or are they two different songs? We get a clue from Testimonies to Ministers and Gospel Workers 433. When the earthly warfare is accomplished, the saints are all gathered home. Our first theme, this is talking about the saints. So the saints' first theme, the first thing they're going to sing is the song of Moses, the servant of God. The second theme will be the song of the Lamb, the song of grace and redemption. The song will be louder, loftier, and in sublime strains, echoing and re-echoing through the heavenly courts. So from this, we get a clue that the song of Moses is a song of personal experience. The 144,000 have gone through Jacob's time of trouble without a mediator, and they have witnessed God's deliverance. So they sing about that just like the Israelites could sing about their deliverance from Pharaoh back in Moses' day. But the song of the Lamb is not mentioned in Moses' day. This is only in the end time that you have this song of the Lamb. And it is, according to this, about grace and redemption. So we have the song of Moses is a song about the personal experience of the people who've gone through the time of trouble. And the song of the Lamb is about Jesus' grace making them perfect to be able to go through this without a mediator, and the redemption of rescuing them from the death decree. The song of the Lamb is loftier and more sublime strains. So it's like, I like when there's some big massive song and it'll go along and then they'll shift it up to the next, it becomes louder, it goes to the next key. It just gives you goosebumps because it's such a massive change. And I picture this as even better than that. Louder, loftier, and sublimer strains. Don't know how to say that. It continues to say, this is the theme. This is the song. We're talking about the song of the Lamb. This is the theme. It's a song about Christ all and in all. In themes of praise resounding through heaven from thousands and 10,000s times 10,000s and an innumerable company of redeemed hosts, all unite in the song of Moses and of the Lamb. It's a new song, for it is never before sung in heaven. So here you can see that the song of the Lamb is specifically praising Jesus by this innumerable company of redeemed. So the question is, the 144,000, it said earlier, can only learn the song of Moses and the Lamb. But what about the innumerable multitude, it almost sounds contradictory that the 144,000 are the only ones that could ever learn the Song of Moses and of the Lamb. But then we just read that this innumerable multitude will be singing this as well. So what is the answer? We'll read this again a little more carefully. When the earthly warfare is accomplished, the saints are all gathered home. So that sounds to me like it's all the saints. Our first theme, notice she's including herself, our first theme will be the Song of Moses. Now, if Ellen White's including herself in this, and it's not a figure of speech, then that means this body of singers that are singing this include those redeemed who have died, not just the 144,000. So it's, again, let's read this. When the earthly warfare is accomplished, the saints are all gathered home to heaven. Our first theme will be the Song of Moses, the servant of God. The second theme will be the Song of the Lamb, the song of grace and redemption. This song is louder, loftier, and in sublimer strains, echoing and re-echoing through the heavenly courts. This is the theme. This is the song, Christ all and in all. In themes of praise resounding through heaven, from thousands to 10,000s times 10,000, and an innumerable company of the redeemed host, all unite in this song of Moses and the Lamb. It is a new song, for it has never been sung in heaven. So, how do we balance these two seemingly contradictory statements? One says that it can only be sung by the 144,000. The other says that the redeemed can sing the song. Now, one way I'd like to imagine this is that the Song of Moses, the 144,000, it's talking about their own personal experience going through Jacob's time of trouble. The Song of the Lamb, on the other hand, is praising Jesus for making salvation possible. So maybe, and I don't think we're going to know till we're there, maybe the way this will work is that here you've got the sea of glass. You've got the 144,000 in a square, and you've got the great multitude of the saved around them with a hollow space in the middle between the 144,000. And they're all playing harps and they're all singing. And so it's like an orchestra and a choir. And you know, if you're familiar with black music, and my personal theory is the reason some of the styles of black music is some soloist will be singing something, and then the choir joins in, and then the soloist goes again, and then the choir goes in. And my theory is the slaves didn't know how to read. And when they were slaves, and maybe even working in the cotton fields, they would sing, and they would sing gospel music. And because they couldn't read, and they didn't have books, somebody would lead instead of standing there leading like a choir director. They would lead by singing it so that they knew what the words were going to be. Anyway, just a little sidebar. I would like to imagine that the way this would work is the 144,000 in a perfect square would be leading the choir, if you will, in telling their story in the verse. Then the chorus, everybody would join in, and they would be praising Jesus for grace and victory. And then the 144,000 would sing the next verse, telling their story that only they knew. And then they would lead the unnumbered multitude into singing praises to Jesus again. That's my own little sanctified imagination at work. While the song of the Lamb will be a new song that has never been sung before, some have attempted to give us an idea of what it might be like to have a choir, a huge choir of untold numbers singing praises to God. The closest I've been able to come to this as an example is the Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir in New York. This famous choir in this famous church does an attempt to give us a glimpse of what the Song of Moses and the Song of the Lamb would be like. Listen.
And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of God. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of God. And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb, saying,
Great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. Who shall not fear thee? Who shall not fear thee? Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name?
Great and marvelous are your works, O Lord God Almighty. Just and pure are thy ways, thou King of saints. Who shall not fear thee? Who shall not fear thee? Oh, who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name?
Boy, that just gives me goosebumps, and I can just imagine the heavenly choir of all the saved and the redeemed singing praises to Jesus for what he's done for us, with the 144,000 standing on the sea of glass in a perfect square, and all of the multitude, the unnumbered multitude of the redeemed around them. I just picture that, and I'm looking forward to that greatly. So, how should this impact our life this week? Well, Prophets and Kings, page 290 says, "The great lesson here taught is for all time. Often Christian life is beset with dangers, and duty seems hard to perform. The imagination pictures impending ruin before and bondage or death behind. Have you, in contemplating, by the way, the themes of the time of trouble, the little time of trouble and Jacob's time of trouble, has that gotten overwhelming in your mind? Has it made you fearful? Has it made you unsure? Watch this. The great lesson here taught is for all time. Often the Christian life is beset with dangers and duty seems hard to perform. The imagination of the time of trouble pictures impending ruin before and bondage or death behind. Yet the voice of God speaks clearly. Go forward. We should obey this command, even though our eyes cannot penetrate the darkness and we feel the cold waves about our feet. So this could apply to thinking about what's ahead in these uncertain times and the prophetic things that can be scary that are ahead of us, or it could be a trauma in your own life right now this week. The voice of God speaks clearly. Go forward. We should obey this command, even though our eyes can't penetrate the darkness and we feel the cold waves about our feet. Fearful tests and trial await the people of God. The spirit of war is stirring the nations from one end of the earth to the other. But in the midst of the time of trouble that is coming, a time of trouble such as never been since there was a nation, God's chosen people will stand unmoved. Satan and his angels cannot destroy them, for angels that excel in strength will protect them. So don't be discouraged this week. Don't be intimidated by thinking about what's ahead prophetically. Don't be concerned to the point of stressing out about the weird things that are going on in our world right now. God is in control. God is in control of who's leading in our country. He's in control of the holding back the four winds of strife. But when God says enough is enough, when probation closes and he lets go of those four winds of strife, then we are going to see God be victorious and get rid of sin and sinners all at once after the 1,000 years. And I really look forward to that.